Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Fellas. As always, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date on all things The Fellas, and hit the notification bell. And you can follow us on your podcast platform of choice. Today, we have a special guest, Carmel, and we're going to be discussing the Mexico Grand Prix. Very interesting. We're gonna jump right into it. Sum it up as the beginning as wheel banging and grass cutting. Carmel, lead off with you.
I mean, look, right out the gate, we kind of got what we thought, right? That opening turn, a lot of, bumping and grinding and stuff. So again, they knew this could be a possibility with this track format and this layout, with Lewis being right where he was, Leclerc and Verstappen. But as we know with Verstappen, look, we know he's going to go and get whatever he can to get ahead. It's just what he does. And I used to hate the cat, but I understand it. Like, I got to do what I got to do. Now, does he take some chances that leave you thinking, yo, that's kind of like dangerous and wild? But look, bro, the guy is a killer. And that opening turn we saw, like, okay, Max is being Max. Now, with that being said, I feel like sometimes the leash is a bit too long. Like, when do we like say, hey, look, you can't do that, or this can't happen. You can't take these chances like that and do what you do. Is he a draw? Is he? Right now he might still be the best driver in the field, even though with Oscar and Norris leading the championship, he might be the best driver, right? So it's kind of hard to really ding him. But again, being a Lewis fan, I was really pushing for him to get out and get ahead, and it all this stuff going on, and then for him to get a 10-second penalty when we just saw a dude do some crazy stuff, and he came a little bit inside of the exit or entrance back in. What did it? He got back in the pace he was. So for me, that opening turn, the opening lap, that kind of just summed up what's been Lewis's whole, we could say career in some ways. And what we've seen with people giving Max just a little bit too much leeway. But again, it is what it is. That's how I saw it. It's just like, it's just, I'm not surprised.
Yep. Simon?
Yeah, it was pure BS. That first corner, like the title says, wheel banging and grass cutting. I was okay with all the hype and all the incidents that happened in that first corner, because it went back into the middle of the pack. It was good. It was exciting. Everybody was on their toes. I was on my toes, enjoying it. And even the little bump between him and Charles, Lewis and Charles, and Max Verstappen, the three going 4 wide on the first corner. Charles going off into space. And Max Verstappen going off the track line. Lewis was the only one. Lewis and Lando were the only ones that stayed on the track. And then, for them to go back around and then Max take a dive inwards, hit Lewis, right? But Max went off the track. Lewis stayed his ground. Max went off the track, got back on the track. On the next turn, he bumped into Lewis again, and Lewis goes off the track, and Lewis gets a 10-second penalty. I'm okay with all the wheel banging and grass cutting. I'm okay with all of that. But George was even saying, how does Max get away with even passing him? Right. So if George is saying it, Lewis is saying it, and everybody else, even the commentators were like, yeah, there's probably going to be some penalties. And there was only one. Right. And why 10 seconds?
Yeah. Well, that's the rule.
Going off. I thought it was 5.
No. Going off and gaining an advantage is 10 seconds.
All right.
Updated it.
But was it really an advantage?
Well, now that you say that, I watched that back because I was pissed, as we all were, right? I was pissed. And when he took the escape road again, then he cut across the grass and then came on. Partly because Max now fell into the clutches of George and we're battling back there. When Lewis came on, he was quite a bit down the track from them. It's not like he came
about 2 seconds.
Right. Close enough. So that's the advantage, right? That's the advantage. Now, that doesn't mean that I still agree with what you're saying, that Max did some of that stuff and he didn't get any. And then I want to segue into something as well based on that, like penalties that weren't doled out, right? Charles. Now, when Lewis went up the inside, Charles is in the middle, Max is on the outside. They went into the corner. Charles moved over, right? Lewis was moving over, going into the corner. Max went off track, went up. Lewis was clearly ahead of Charles. When Charles went off track.
Right.
Charles rejoined ahead of Lewis. Max rejoined ahead of Lewis. What did Max do? Ease his way back down, gave the positions back. I was waiting for Charles. Charles didn't give his back, right? I don't know if there was a Ferrari team radio, but even still, even though they're in the same team, that is an infringement of the rules, right? I didn't hear a radio call for that.
I didn't even hear it be noted. It wasn't even noted.
Wasn't noted.
So that's funny you even say that, because I forgot about that one. And then when I saw the replay, I'm like, yo, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Why didn't he not give that up?
Yeah. When they say, you need to be along, Lewis was clearly ahead and on track. So, hey, if you're going to deal it out across the board.
Right.
If you're not going to deal it out across the board, don't deal it out.
And
But
this to me is like in football. Everybody's holding.
Right.
There's a hold on every play.
Right.
And if there's a rivalry game and it's heated and the refs are holding the whistle, cool, great.
Right.
They letting them play.
Right.
If you all of a sudden just throw a penalty, I'm like, yo, we've been doing this since the tip, since the kickoff. Like, what?
Right.
Now why are you picking this guy to throw that? And this hold was not nearly as bad as these other ones.
The ones that you didn't call.
That you didn't call. Yeah. So if they had just left it alone, again, like Simon said, it was fun. Like, okay, we banging, we doing this. Okay, cool. This is like old school racing.
Right.
But then one person gets a 10-second penalty.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that was the default penalty was 10 seconds. I thought it was 5. I thought I've seen some races.
They changed it.
Okay. Recently, or
I believe so. But I know it was changed.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's probably why I was more upset than anything else, because I was like, all right, 5 seconds. He's 4 seconds ahead of
he was
Ollie
Berman, right.
And I was like, all right, well, he'll go into the pit, serve his 5 seconds. Ollie may get ahead of him when he pits, right? Depending on when Ollie pits and if there's going to be an undercut. But at least he has a fighting chance to get the 3rd place back, right? When he did the 10 seconds, he came back in at 14th.
But you're right. I agree with all you just said, because I was also, when I was watching it, I was like, wait a minute, we're waiting a while for the replay, right? And then, okay, you replay it, but then you see the infringement right there between Charles and Lewis. You never saw it again. Sometimes I feel with these stewards is that if the world feed replays it again, they might wake up and go, oh, wait a minute, there's something there. We missed that. Let's go look at. Yo, dude, it was radio silence.
And you heard Lewis, right? You heard Lewis say, hey, are there going to be any penalties for everyone else that went off track? Because he in his mind, I think he thought he was going to get one. But if everybody else got one, then it would cancel out.
And I actually took that when he went to his race engineer saying, like, yo, I clearly was ahead of Charles and I was on track. When are we going to make that right? And they never did. So that right there, I was like, wow, that's interesting. Like, it's always been a problem sometimes, just like you said, Carmel, about, you dealing out here in football, and it's been going on. But yeah, if you're not going to deal it out for all of them, then shut up. But again, they pick and choose. You broke it today. But moving into, I mean, we have to focus on the fact that Lando, man, seems like a whole new man. He must have some good Zen technique working on his mind, because he has not skipped a beat. I mean, and then while he hasn't, poor Oscar, I don't know what happened to him. Carmel?
I mean,
Carmel?
Yeah. I mean, Oscar didn't look right the whole weekend, right? So, I mean, and he came on strong in this race toward the end.
Mm-hmm.
But Lando, like, I don't know what happened in the off, in the off season, in the mid season break, and he got his mind right, and he's like, because even Lando has won races where he still had done dumb stuff, right? Yep. Where he's given something like, oh, what was that? I don't think he did any. Can't think of anything in this race that was Lando-esque, right? Like he drove from start to finish like his talent should let him drive. And whatever this Lando version of Lando this is fun. I mean, again, being a Lewis fan, I want to see Lewis do his thing. But second, the race itself, watching Lando drive that way, I could watch that. And now Oscar, he seems like there's something he's faltering. When he seemed so strong in the early, first beginning of the season, like he's seen on break. And Oscar still kind of has that mentality, but maybe there is some chinks in his armor where he's like, he might get depressed. He might, I can't go, whatever. But Lando, that might be one of his best performances, if not his best.
Simon?
I think Lando has been listening to the podcast because we've been giving him a hard time. We've been giving him a hard time all year. Like, he races well, but he makes these silly mistakes, and it's gonna cost him the championship. And I know I've been critical of him, saying, hey, if he doesn't buck up, Piastri is going to take the lead on the 6th race of the year, and which he did. Mm-hmm. And now Lando's back at the top. And the last 4 races, he really hasn't made a mistake, right? No. He really has been, charged and motivated. I don't know if there's, like you said, I don't know what happened in the mid-season break, or he's been watching the podcast and got angry and said, you know what, I'm not making any more mistakes.
I'm gonna show
he's been focused. Yeah, he's been focused. He hasn't been smiling as much. Right. I haven't seen his parents in the paddock as much. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just gotta, just get focused and say, hey, I if I'm going to win this championship, it's on me. At this point, I can't blame anybody else. Now, Piastri, on the other hand, I think he's still there. I think he's a little upset, on the wrong side of upset of what happened to him a couple of races ago. Right. And Lando getting preferential treatment, if you want to call it that, in the last couple of races, because he hasn't even podium. Yeah. But I think now he's going to be motivated to see. All right. Well, he raced pretty good today. He didn't qualify well. So that's what made him put him in the middle of the pack. But he raced pretty good. I think he's going to get his mojo back. I believe that.
Yeah, I would hope so as well, because I know during the practice sessions and such, there was a radio call from him to his engineer that he felt the car was misfiring at the top end, which we don't have Ray here today to jump in on that with the conspiracy, so I'll pick up a little slack on that and say, when you're hearing the car's misfiring, you're not getting full power. You don't want to have that issue. So, it kind of been like, I hope there's nothing going on with his car compared to Lando's car. But yeah, no, I agree with you, Simon. I think is that, he might still have that in his head. And I don't think he really, I don't think the Mexico City track is one of his better tracks anyway. So I think that's kind of more or less what's leaning with it. But hey, I'll say it. It's his championship to lose. Yes, Lando clawed back ahead now, but if we see the Oscar of old, of the earlier part of the season, come out now, he can still reclaim it. Yeah, that's my opinion. But go ahead, Simon.
No, I was just gonna say I think he will. I think now sometimes you need that little extra motivation, right? So now with Lando being 1 point ahead of him, I believe he's going to kick it into high gear.
Right. Yeah, and I think we saw a couple moves. I think we saw a couple moves in this race. The one on George, the one even when he got back out of the pit on I think it was on Behrman. Like, okay, it's clicking. Sometimes guys get in that zone where they just drive. Like, I'm just gonna I can't win. I'm just gonna drive. And Ollie kind of gives off that vibe sometimes, where it's just like, okay, I'm not. If I can't challenge, for 1 or 2 or even a podium, I'm just gonna drive and finish the race. But he made a couple moves in this race. I was like, okay. Okay, so maybe take those 2, 3, 4 moves and carries that into the next race.
Right. Yeah. I think so too. I agree. Oscar can do that. like it would be a shame. You know, I would like to see him and Lando battle for it. You know, really battle for it. Yeah, you know, really battle. I mean, the next race is a classic track. So, you know, high speed track. So Brazil. So we should see some good racing from them, from the McLaren boys there, hopefully. You know, but having said that, we have to the surprise, one of the other surprise, other than the lawn care that went on, is Haas.
Yeah.
Right? Ali Berman, 4th place.
Yep.
Wow. I mean, wow. And I think Esteban, Esteban was in 9th. I mean, hats off. I know they came with some updates. I think they had a new floor on their car. Evidently, it's working well. I mean, Simon, what do you think?
No, I think for American team Haas did well. I found out today that I didn't realize this, that they're the smallest team of F1, right? So I don't know if that means overall size, but I'm assuming something financial as well, right? So their smallest team, and for them to have a 4th place, possibly they could have had a 3rd place podium finish. It would have been their first. That was a great race for Haas. It was great qualifying and a great race. And you know, Oliver Berman raced for Ferrari last year and did very well, even though he had a few crashes because, you know, he was still young. But, you know, I think they really have a good potential driver going forward, and they might lose him because of that, right? But Haas had a good showing today. Berman did a great job keeping Katz behind him, making sure he didn't make any mistakes. He didn't really make any mistakes, and he could have as a rookie. Right. So, yeah, I thought Haas did a great showing for the U.S. and also for their team.
Carmel?
Yeah, I mean, I think I have this on record in one of our earlier podcasts. I picked Ali to be of the young crew. I thought he was going to be the best this year. So to finally see him show up like this and drive this well, I was hyped for him and hyped for Haas. I mean, again, being an American team, American company. Yeah, I don't know if they were the smallest either. But I think also our trip to Haas and, you know, in Oxnard, maybe what's happening came up to, we brought that mojo.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
So I think I see a pattern here. You know, you got Lando doing better. You got Haas getting in 4th and 9th, winning points. And, you know, we showing up somehow, right?
They should be sponsoring us for real. But anyway.
Right.
Well, you know, it's interesting to see them here is reminiscent of their debut season in F1 that they surprised a lot of teams. But part of that was that they had a lot of Ferrari parts. Like they purchased, you know, the rear end from Ferrari and so forth. And that, of course, once they were competitive as they were that first season, you got all the other ones now up at the top complaining. Right, like that they didn't build their car. But anyway, I kind of chuckled at that. But this one they're doing on their own. I was happy to see them. I was happy to see them back up, coming up, not back up, coming up there. But you know, having said that, we didn't really hash this out. But George Russell, Mercedes, with him and Antonelli when they swapped, that George was trying to run down Ali Berman to try and get it. I mean. Just to touch it really quick, you know, Simon, what do you think?
No, if I was George, I would have said the same exact thing. I would have tried the same thing, right? You're what, 4th in the championship points. Yeah. You're feeling that your car is faster than your teammates in front of you, but you're just really catching the DRS zones basically, right? Because as soon as they switched, it was the same thing, right? Your tires are getting hot because you got Piastri behind you and you're stuck in the middle and you're getting dirty air. So yeah, give me an opportunity to go, you know, get past Antonelli and see if I can go after Ali Berman. Didn't work out. Oliver had a competitive car and he was driving and he wasn't making mistakes. He got the most out of that car and held his position. So yeah, I mean, they eventually gave the position back. But yeah, if I was George, I would have tried the same thing. I would have, you know, at least let's experiment. Let's try something different. Let's try to get ahead. I still can't believe Max came in 3rd. But anyway, but, you know, But yeah, I think Mercedes made the right call.
Well, you know, the thing is, if they'd have done it a little earlier, because George did come over the radio to say, hey, his race engineer came in, which I loved back and forth on that one, to say he was cooking the carcass of the tires. The temperatures were going away from them, the direction they didn't want them to go, and the life of the tire would decrease. And I love George's comeback. Like, I have a car up my ass, and I'm trying that's faster than me, that I'm trying to keep behind. And I loved it. But perhaps if Mercedes had let him go earlier, right? So before that warning would have came, he would have been able to, he might have made some inroads. Might have. Go ahead, Simon. I see you got something.
Carmel go first.
Yeah, go, Carmel.
I jump in.
No. Because I feel like, with George, because he just signed an extension, right?
Yes.
Earlier this month. Is this like, well, let me put on a show real quick. Let me perform. Let me make sure, like, this is why we signed me for the extension,
right? And
then to like have to like deal with the guy behind him, the guy in front of me, engineers, like, well, damn, okay, like it didn't work out,
right?
But here's the thing about any of these race teams where like what needs to happen. When we're watching the race, I often take myself back. Like, I don't know what's going on. I'm not in the pits. But why does it seem like it takes them longer to figure these things out than us? Like, we kind of, like you just said, Rob, let him go sooner. Then when his tires are getting too hot, now he can't. Now he can't. He still was going to try, because that's just the competitive spirit.
Right.
But let him go. Like, what is that in between time? Like, what is it? Are we waiting from like someone from like that's not even the track to get the information, the data, to send it back to the track and then down? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
So
I agree.
So two things to that. I don't disagree. I want to make sure I put that disclaimer out there. But his driver or his engineer told him, all right, well, go race, go pass him. He did tell him, go past Antonelli, and he couldn't. Right. So maybe he was like, oh, well, you're free to race. I think that was the line he said. Well, you're free to race. Go ahead and pass him. This is 5 laps earlier before they did the switch, and he couldn't pass him. So basically, George was hoping that they would make the decision for Antonelli to move out the way and go. But in my opinion, go pass him. Everybody else who catches that DRS train is able to pass people if they got the pace. So why couldn't he do it? And I think that's why they were waiting, right? And then the other thing is, Piastri was so close. You have to plan that overtake and letting him pass properly, or Piastri would just pounce on you, right? So I think they were stuck between a heart and a rock, in my opinion. But I don't disagree. They could have made that decision early and say, hey, if you can't pass him on 2 laps, we'll make the switch. But we got to make sure that Piastri is not in passing range. Right.
Yeah. True. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah. I was surprised though. It's like, yeah, if it could have been a team call, to see like if he's faster, he's running faster, his tires were fresher, let him go. Give him a shot. Let's see if he can do it, and it would have also given you that gap to Piastri, like to down the road. But having said that, the driver's standings, I have something with that. We'll get into the driver's standings right here. So here we have Lando. Lando has overtaken Oscar. We still have Max trailing, the Great White Shark trailing the two of them for any possible mistakes. One thing I wanted, well, I'll say that later. Carmel, I'll throw it out to you. Like, what do you feel about the driver standings right now and Lando being on top?
It's not enough. Like, I think Max is too close, and I think what could happen is, Oscar and Lando are fighting each other, and Max just swoops, and you just call him the Great White Shark, right? He's just waiting, and they've already kind of teased this story, and pre-races and all this. I'm like, oh, hey, the greatest comeback in season histories and stuff like this. So they're kind of already teasing Max doing this. He don't need any motivation.
That's why he didn't get a 5-second penalty. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying. If you're teasing this in stories leading up to these races and you don't penalize a dude,
right? Yeah.
Again, to me, he's a superstar of the league, and if they can keep him in the race, and he don't need any help. Let's put it that way. He don't need any help. Again, McLaren needs to figure this out. Like, this dude will take both of you down if you're not smart.
So before I throw it to Simon, Carmel, when you said that, so it kind of makes me think by what you're saying. Yeah, when he doesn't get any penalties levied against him, right? Kind of like when you mean the FIA broke their own rule and didn't allow all cars to unlap themselves behind the safety car before restarting the race, and chose to, now we'll only let the ones that are in between Max and Lewis unlap, and then we'll restart anyway. You mean kind of like that, like favoritism, perceived.
Well, yeah, it's consistent. It's consistent, right? Yeah. Okay. It's just like, okay,
kind of like that.
Yeah,
Simon, it's almost like a reality TV show, right? In reality TV shows, we know that they don't necessarily get scripts because they want some sort of spontaneity. They want some sort of reality to it, right? Mm-hmm. But they get a theme, or they get a instructions on what we want to do today, right? It's like that race that you're talking about in 2020, in my opinion, was a reality TV show that was scripted, in the sense of, we're going to produce this drama at the end of the race and let you guys duke it out. But to make it interesting, we're going to make you have old tires, Lewis, and then have Max have brand new tires, and you got one lap to hold them off. I mean, to me, it's just like, for Lewis to only be the one to get a penalty and there's probably 3 or 4 drivers that went off the track, was a little frustrating for me, right? Frustrating for me to see as a fan of Formula One. Yes, I'm a fan of Lewis. I'm a fan of Piastri. I'm a fan of Lando. I'm a fan of a lot of the drivers, right? I just want to see fair racing and good racing. And that first turn was good racing. Just let them race, man.
Right.
The penalty stuff, unless it was blatant.
And if they didn't penalize Lewis, I don't think anybody would have said anything.
No.
That's the thing about it. Like, because we've said this before. Like, when we're watching, and then like if the announcers say something over and over again, and then are the stewards listening to the actual broadcast? Because let's look at it again. If they never brought up Lewis's thing, no racer, nobody would have said a thing about it. Because even when he got back in, I'm like, okay, he's back in third. Okay, whatever. Like, the advantage was negligible. It's like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I know. And you mentioned that is the rule. Like, okay, all right, cool. Like,
well, just even though we circle back, I'll say it. I agree, because at first I said, okay, maybe Mexico City is going to be that race where the stewards are going to say, let them handle it on track, right? Because when I saw Charles didn't have to give his back, right, and then the wheel banging with Max and Lewis and all of that, I was like, okay, maybe they're not. And I was like, oh, damn, now you're going to, and then they, no further action on using the escape road, right? They did that one for Lewis. So I was like, oh, maybe they're not going to really meddle in this, and they're going to leave it, handle it on track. And then they were like, no, but they're investigating gaining a unfair advantage. And I was like, all right, but anyway, so yeah, Max is, John Gotti had the title, but we're going to have to say Teflon.
Yeah. I never did answer your question, though.
Huh? Go ahead, brother.
Your question about the standings, right? I got so caught up in my anger. But just looking at the standings, I think it's going to be interesting. There's 4 races left, if I'm not mistaken. And Max has an opportunity to still win it. He's only 30 points down. 30 points down.
Yeah.
Right. I'm more focused on the constructors right now because even though both are interesting, right?
For
the constructors standings and constructors, I mean, only separated by minuscule points. Right?
We're talking second on down, right?
Second and fourth is crazy, right? Ferrari is 1 point ahead of Mercedes now, right? And Red Bull is 10 points down from Ferrari. So any given Sunday, there could be, you know, that extra. I forgot how much millions it is for the second place, but to me that's important, and they're going to need that money next year, Ferrari, if they're going to want to compete. That's for sure.
I agree. I'm just scanning really quick here. Okay, yeah, because there are wild cards, right? Okay, we see it. I forgot which one of us. It wasn't me that said that. You know, it might have been you, Simon, that said Red Bull could still come in second. Yeah. In that, and I know I was like, well, it's only one car doing it. Yes, if Ferrari and Mercedes only have one car finishing and not higher than Max, yes, I think in the remaining races they could possibly squeak in, you know. But this race, you had both Mercedes in the points and you had both Ferraris in the points. If that continues, Red Bull's out.
Well,
because Max is the only one carrying them. Right?
It's true. Okay, it's true. But I'm just noticing. Go ahead, Carmel.
Which would be crazy if Ferrari finishes second with no wins. It's currently right now, I believe, Leclerc hasn't won one race this year.
And he has not.
And Lewis hasn't been on the podium. So they could finish second this year with 0 wins. Would be wild.
Right.
And so, you guys know if Ray was here, that would be the conspiracy of the
day.
Right?
You know,
he would jump on Ray that. Would be like, that's why they gave him the 10-second penalty. They do not want Lewis to get on that podium, is what he would say, because he would be the first Ferrari driver to not podium in a season.
If he finishes the season without being on the podium, he's already got the record so far, you know,
right?
So
right. So yeah, that would be the big conspiracy theory. I'm pretty sure that's why.
He would jump on
that today. He was probably like, "Hey, this was my opportunity to get on the podium and get that monkey off my back, and I get a 10-second penalty." Seriously.
And I'll say this: he looked good.
Yeah,
all weekend. He looked good. So I'm gonna say I hope that it continues and that he's even stronger. I know he loves Brazil. That track, and I'm hoping that he can dial in his Ferrari on that track and podium, and not only podium. I'll say it. I want him to finish ahead of Charles. You know, like I would love that. You know, because that would be the start of those two battling now. You know, because but anyway. But having said that,
can I just say one more thing? If we could put the constructors standings back up, I just noticed this, but the last 5 teams going from 6 to 9, look how close they are. They're really close, right? Haas winning today put them in 8th place. I mean, that's a lot of money that they can use for next year. So if you're 6th compared to 9th, I'm pretty sure that's probably $50 million that they can use for testing and training for next year. So I didn't realize it was that close. I mean, Williams is way ahead of them all, but man.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. It's millions of dollars. And before just, well, you know what? No, I won't mention that. Okay. No, I agree. So we're going to move into predictions.
Yeah.
All right.
And we're going to have Carmel is here with us today. So we're going to have Carmel go first. Carmel, what are your predictions for Brazil?
I think so. Getting back to Lewis, I think he'll have a good time there. I think he's going to do well. I really feel like he could have got on pole in this quality this weekend. But you just had some Leclerc's that 7/10 he gained. I don't know where he got that 7/10 from, but that was crazy. And then of course Lando getting on pole. But I'm gonna predict. I was gonna say I'm gonna predict Lewis to get on pole for the quality, and I think the two McLarens will be behind him. I'm gonna predict Oliver getting back in the groove, and I think they won't finish that way though. I think it's gonna finish with Oscar, Lando, and I think Lewis will probably get third. I think Lewis podiums in Brazil. So yeah, that's my prediction for Brazil. I think Oscar gets back in the winner's circle.
Okay.
Lewis third.
Okay, so you got Oscar, Lando, and Lewis third. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Simon?
Woo. I believe we're probably going to see the same qualifying results we saw this race. Okay. So I'm thinking Ferrari is going to be second, third, or fourth.
Okay.
Leclerc is still much more familiar with the car than Lewis. Lewis is doing his best to get the maximum out of that car and learn the car at the same time. I think he's probably figured the car out now, but I think the maturity and the experience that Leclerc has with that team and with that car is just showing, and that's why he's podiuming and getting ahead of him. But I think Ferrari is going to qualify well. So I'm going to still say McLaren is going to finish first. I'm thinking it's going to be Piastri.
Okay.
And I think Lando is going to be there, probably second.
Okay.
And I think I'm hoping it's Lewis that comes in third because he qualified well.
Okay. So yours is basically the same as Carmel's. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna go. I think it's gonna be Oscar, Lando, Max.
So Ferrari's not even gonna podium, you think?
No, I'm gonna roll the dice on that. You know, because Brazil is a fast track, so that definitely will be to McLaren's advantage, right?
One of our chats are saying that FIA doesn't like Lewis. Well, we knew that already, man. Tell us something new, Ray.
Yeah. You know, but yeah,
Stonewall Dave had a good comment about Lewis being comfortable with the car. It almost seems like when he gets comfortable, they tweak it. Like it's like, wait, I'm good. No, let's change it. It's like, no, now that I'm comfortable, why are we changing shit? Like, leave it alone now that I'm comfortable. And yeah, he's Stonewall, you're right. Ferrari is weird. It is a very weird squad over there. You've got arguably the greatest ever. When he says I'm good, leave it alone.
Well, you know, Carmel, I read an article not that long ago about Lewis, and he was saying that the car changes. He says the car changes, and he also says that, you know, what was difficult for him is that all of his past knowledge over his years, when it comes to that car, it goes out the window. So he could not drive it the way he normally would. And he said you would have it and the car would be fine. And then you get in there, you're like, whose car is this? Basically, you know, I'm paraphrasing. So we don't even know, because I'd like to think that Ferrari wants to make sure he's got a good car. But yeah, but having said that, I agree. It looks like he's finally getting on top of the car from the previous race to this race. And I'm hoping that it continues, because once all of his, well, not all, but some of his past teammates over the years have said it. When he's on, you can't touch him, you know, and it seems like he's getting back to that now. So yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
But anyway, Stonewall, yeah, well, Lewis is a tinkerer. Yep. And Mercedes, he himself sometimes, wants to change things. Yes. And his race engineer said the same. Like they said they would come with the parameters for, you know, what they're going to do with the car and how they're going to test it and how the settings on the steering wheel. And they said during the testing, Lewis would go out with the car and move everything. So he would be off the program that they were on. But they said a lot of times he would do that and then discover something in the car and then use that settings. But then there were times where it's like, all right, now you got to bring it all back. We got to baseline it and go back to, set it up. He is a tinkerer. Well, anyway, guys, that does it for this episode. We're going to come to you in 2 weeks when F1 goes to a track that I love as well, in Brazil. Until then, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date on all things the fellas. Until then, take care.
Take it easy.
All right.